Sing it. A wonderful Savior is Jesus my Lord, a wonderful Savior to me. He hideth my soul in the cleft of the rock, where rivers of pleasure I see. He hideth my soul in the cleft of the rock, that shadows a dry, thirsty land. He hideth my life in the depths of his love, and covers me there with his hand, and covers me there with his hand. A wonderful Savior is Jesus my Lord, he taketh my burden away. He holdeth me up, and I shall not be moved. He giveth me strength as my day. He hideth my soul in the cleft of the rock, that shadows a dry, thirsty land. He hideth my life in the depths of his love, and covers me there with his hand, and covers me there with his hand. The last verse. When clothed in his brightness, transported I rise, to meet him in clouds of the sky. His perfect salvation, his wonderful love, I'll shout with the millions on high. He hideth my soul in the cleft of the rock, that shadows a dry, thirsty land. He hideth my life in the depths of his love, and covers me there with his hand, and covers me there with his hand. Thank you. Have a seat. All right, let's go, Lord, in prayer. They have spoken prayer requests. Okay. Excuse me. Charlie, come over and sit down. Don't move. Okay. All right. Anybody else with a spoken request? Okay. Okay. Sure. Okay. Anybody else with a prayer request? Okay. Anyone else? Any unspoken requests?
time because we really need it. And we want yes. But on our side, it's just me. Maybe that's just my thinking. But God always answers.
Right.
He always does. Maybe not what we want. And Rebecca reminded me the other day of, now she's grown, but she was 5 at the time, and I was cute. This little girl was 5, and she shared with Rebecca, she said, sometimes God says yes, sometimes he says no, and sometimes you have to go.
Right.
Oh, our hearts are happy.
He always answers. Right. Okay. Anyone else? Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Dan, Father, thank you for the opportunity to be in your house this morning, Lord. I pray you'll bless in all of our classes, Lord. I pray you'll bless each one of the requests, Lord. You know what's best in each situation, and we trust you for the outcome. And a lot of times it's what we ask for specifically, and then sometimes the answer is no, or you give us a different answer. We trust you for the outcome. We trust your wisdom, Lord. I pray you'll bless in our services this morning in all of our Sunday school classes, that you'll bless the teacher and bless the student. Help us to learn to trust you more, to walk with you and love the way we ought to. In Jesus' name we ask, amen. You can be dismissed to class. Rearranging. I don't think Miss Joe needs those boys in her class. They are the right age to be in her class, but I don't think they should be in her class. Huh? No, we sent him up to Jared's class, so he can. I mean, if you hear some thumping, it's called body slamming. We got duct tape for that. Yeah. You can handle those boys. Actually, I had a talk with two of the parents yesterday about the ones that got in trouble last Wednesday night, and issues should be resolved. I know, but they really gave you and Miss Patty a rough time the other night. Let me ask you this: is it worth the investment to bring those kids to church? Does anybody know what those kids are going to be like when they're older? We know what some of them are going to be like if we don't reach them. Okay, there's a little boy who comes here often. Both of his parents are in jail or in prison, and his family says that's where he should be. They should be, or whatever. And his family, who said that, kind of got in trouble with the rest of the family by saying, "Good for them, get them out." So you think, well, John, who's going to reach those kids if we don't, right? This thought occurred to me. We're not. Turn to John chapter 12. Is that right? John chapter 4 is where we'll go. But something hit me this week, and it keeps sticking with me over and over and over and over and over again. We're going to John chapter 4. We'll read just a minute, but I want to go through this other thing first. About 2 months ago, probably, Mark said, "What if him and Sue hadn't come to church that one Sunday morning, and what if Larry hadn't gotten saved and influenced their family and everyone else got saved? What if those questions come up? Okay, what if we don't care about those kids that nobody else cares about? I mean, the parents care about them, but no one's going spiritually going to teach them to go to church. And some of these kids are here this morning that have been coming. They don't need the songbooks. When you start singing, they're singing. I mean, they know the words of the song. Someone has taken them before. Grandparents or parents have taken them before, but they're out. Okay, the family's out of church. What if we don't reach them? We've all had heartaches and family members and problems and different things we go through in life. What if nobody reaches out to these kids and tries to make a difference in their life? Okay, what hope do they have? No one else is going to reach them. Okay. With that being said, pray for the workers, pray for the Wednesday night teachers, the Sunday school teachers, those who think, who brought him? I want the name of whoever pushed that kid in here and be mad at him. Okay, but the truth is, they need it. Okay, we were sitting here with Friday night. I wished all of you had come here Friday night for the singing and stuff, and me having a wrestling match with the kids that we're trying to with some of these kids. Jason did great with the games. 4 boys got up there to sing. One played piano, and Pastor preached for them. And I thought the only difference, I hope these boys that were here the other night would get the difference that they could have a different, completely different life if they trust Christ, if they walk with God. I looked one time, Josiah was by himself back here. We were eating, and once I started eating, who cares where Josiah's at, right? No, but I thought, where's Rebecca? So I came back in here, and Rebecca was going over with Preston, the piano player, which we know him. He's from Parkersburg. Her and Preston were over at the piano, and one of the boys were over here, and they were going over songs that she knows that they don't know, and they're going over songs that they know that she doesn't know, and it is I just got a blessing from the idea that everyone's teaching each other, helping each other, and she said, "Do you know this song?" And she went and made copies of it and brought it back into them, give it to them, and they of course they were singing songs that they have written, and that song that Rebecca sang what's that song you sang last Sunday morning? See What God Can Do. Okay, you remember how many of you here last Sunday morning she sang a song? Okay. Can you print off the words to that sometime and give to anybody who wants a copy? See Rebecca, she'll print off the words, and it's probably a copyrighted thing. You're not supposed to, but she'll print off and give to you the words just to read the words and say, yeah, God can do that. Okay, let's see what he can do. Okay, it's a lot of faith, but it's a blessed life, tremendous life. Okay, John chapter 4. I'm still stuck on the woman at the well. Okay, I know we've been on this for 3 weeks now, but things come up, and as I read something else, or something else happens through a week, and I think about it, and we're back to the same story, woman at the well, Samaritan. Okay, John chapter 4, look down verse 39, and we'll read just 3 verses. We'll stop. If y'all have questions, ask away. We've got time for questions. And many of the Samaritans of that city believed on him for the saying of the woman, which testified, "He told me all that ever I did." So when the Samaritans would come to him, they besought him that he would tarry with them, and he abode there 2 days. And many more believed because of his own word. Stop right there. Okay? Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for your word. I pray you bless, and I pray you help us understand this truth this morning. Help me get it across as you give it to me. And thank you for your word. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen. We know the story. Jesus with the disciples. He's going towards Jerusalem. Stopped in the city of Samaria. The disciples went in to get something to eat, and he's outside the city at the well, and this woman comes out in the middle of the day, and he said, "Give me a drink." We know the story. Everybody knows the stories, right? So the woman got saved, and she went back in and told everyone else that come see a man that told me everything I ever did. And it's not just to Christ, and she's witnessing to everybody else that day, which means a lot of times you can be a witness even if you have a terrible testimony, but she got saved that day, so she didn't have the time to build up a big testimony thing and say, you can just go tell everyone what he did for you, okay? That's 11 o'clock service. Anyway, something hit me this week when I read this again. Verse 39 says, many, down the second line says, believed on him for the saying of the woman. So verse 40 says, so the Samaritans will come to him, and they besought him that he would tarry with them, and he abode 2 days, and many more believed because of his own word. What they do? Is there a ring in this, or is it not hit? Is there a ring? There's a ring. Turn one of me down. Okay? Okay, it's what's better. Okay. All right. They asked him to stay. Okay? They put forth, they came out
This woman got saved. She's been married five times. She's living with someone else now, and she came back in town and said, "Come and see the man that told me all that I ever did." And so they went out to hear him, and a lot of them got saved. But then it said, verse 40 says, middle verse 41 says, they besought him that he would tarry with them, and abode there 2 days. They asked him to stay with them. They said, "We want you to stay in our presence." Remember when he cast the maniac at the Gadara, he cast the demons out, and the pigs went off the hill. Remember the story? This man came, lived in the tombs, he cut himself all the time, and had chains. They couldn't bind him with chains. And Jesus cast the demons out of him. And the people, when they came out and they found out that they lost their pigs, because they cast the demons into the swine ran off the cliff and drowned. The people of the city said, "Leave. We don't want you here." Okay? They told you he didn't do any more miracles. Cast the demons out of the one guy. That demonic guy wanted to go with him, but they told him, "We don't want you here. We want you to leave." Okay? So he did. In this story, completely different story, they said, "Won't you stay with us? We want you." They know he can't stay forever. Okay? He's in a ministry that he's traveling going to the next town. He's on his way to Jerusalem. And he said, "Why don't you stay?" And he stayed 2 days. Because he stayed, more people believed. Let me ask you this. I go through this often. David Gibbs, a lawyer, says that most Christians don't spend much time in prayer. Very few of them read the Bible at all. Okay? You ever ask God something and just say, "I'm going to ask until you give me something"? Tammy mentioned prayer requests this morning. Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is I'll give it to you later, right? What if you just ask him? This consumes me sometimes. Won't you just ask him to stay? When you pray, I know you got a schedule. Everyone's got to go to work, except for those of you who are retired. When you kneel down to pray in the morning or at nighttime, and just ask and keep on asking until you get an answer. Well, if the answer is no, Brother John, then the answer is no, the answer is no. Right? And most often, if the answer is no, he's got something better planned anyway. Right? What if you go to him and say, "I'm not getting up until God knows"? What if you, okay, if you have a family situation, you're praying for a family member. If somebody is lost, I remember hearing a preacher tell this story that when his father, who was lost, died, he went to after the funeral, when everyone else left, he knelt down at the graveside of his dad. He just stayed there. And how long did he stay? He just stayed there and begged God to do something. Okay, he just do something, use him in some way. His dad was ashamed of him for being a preacher and different things. But his dad was lost. He said he just laid there on his dad's grave until he got an answer. And he got his answer. Okay, he did get the answer. What if you go to God and say, "Hey God, I'm not going to quit asking until you tell me to quit asking"? Personal testimony. I've been witnessing people for 30-some years, almost 40 years. Okay? I've been knocking on doors for 30 years. It has been a long time since I've knocked on someone's door and saw someone saved. It's been a long time. Somebody I don't know. There's been people that got saved here. There's been people that I've talked to. I've run. Someone said, "You go with me to see this person," and we know where we're going to specifically go. But it's been a long time since I was just going door to door. Alan's gone with me a couple times. We're just going door to door, hand out tracts, and witness to people a little bit. And it's been a long time since I saw somebody saved. And it's been too long, really. And I think, what if I keep asking? Asking. But I ask every day. Okay? What if you keep asking until more people believe? What if it's your family member or your neighbor? You say, "Okay, God, I'm not going to get up. I'm not going to quit asking until I know." Turn to Luke chapter 21. 24. Turn back about 4 or 5 pages in your Bible. Luke chapter 24. just as after the resurrection, Mary has seen Peter, and some of the ladies have seen Jesus, and they go tell Peter and the disciples, and no one believes what the woman says. Luke chapter 24, look down verse 39. This is the, I saw that. Oh, I'm in the wrong chapter. Luke chapter 24 on the right side, right below on the page. Verse 13. This is the resurrection day. Jesus rose from the grave. And behold, two of them went that same day to a village called Emmaus, which was from Jerusalem about 80 furlongs, and they talked together of all these things which had happened. And it came to pass that while they communed together and reasoned, Jesus himself drew near and went with them. But their eyes were holden that they should not know him. And he said unto them, What manner of communications are these that ye have one to another as you walk, and are so sad? And one of them, whose name was Cleopas, answering said unto him, Art thou a stranger in Jerusalem, and hast not known the things which have come to pass in these days? Stop reading right there. So these two men are walking down the road, and Jesus, the resurrection, they've heard about the resurrection. They saw the crucifixion. They know what happened to Jesus. They were following Christ. They know that he was crucified. They know he died. They know he was buried. They know, and they've heard. Now these ladies come from the tomb, and Peter and John ran out there, but they come from the tomb and say, He's risen and we've seen him. Okay? And most of them aren't believing. These are the disciples. These guys are sold out. Some of them left their trade or occupation to follow Jesus. And they can't believe it. Thomas said, I won't believe it until I stick my hand in his side. You know the story, right? So these guys are walking down the road, and Jesus appears to them and said, Why are you so sad? And they start telling him what happened. As the three of them were walking down the road, their eyes are blinded to the fact of who it is. I mean, he hasn't showed them his hands yet. They don't know who it is. But as they're walking down the road, they come to the house. The road is just a couple of miles to Emmaus. As they come to the house, and Jesus has now explained to them all about the prophecies of the Old Testament, and telling them about the death, burial, and resurrection, why he had to raise from the grave, but they still don't know who he is. Okay. Look down at we're still chapter 24. Look down at verse 28. And as they drew nigh unto the village whither they went, he made as though he would have gone farther. But they constrained him, saying, Abide with us, for it is toward evening, and the day is far spent. And he went and tarried with them. Stop reading right there. Okay? So he's walking with these guys down the road, and they come to their house, or where they're going to go in, and he acts like, Okay, guys, see you. And he acts like he's going to walk on down the road. And he said, Wait, why don't you stay? This is almost like my favorite story from Easter Sunday. Okay? Because he's not going to force his way on anybody. He doesn't force his will. He doesn't demand of you. He said, okay, I'm on my way. And they said, wait, won't you come stay? And they don't even know who he is. Okay? Until they're breaking the bread, and then breaking bread, they understand that he is Jesus. He is God in the flesh, and they understand that part. But the part that gets to me is he doesn't force his will. He doesn't force his way on anybody. Just like the Samaritans say, won't you stay with us a couple of days? Okay? You ever have family members come stay with you and you wish they'd leave? I'm not talking about Jared and Rebecca right now, but they are looking for a house, but we don't want to force them out. Okay. Rebecca cooks every day. We're getting 15 pounds this year. Anyway, Joey said they can move into their house next because she cooked for them. Okay, you ever have someone you can't get rid of? Kelly, don't point. Okay, but they're coming. Okay, as someone said about one of my family members said, you love to see them come and you love to see them go. Okay, so once they come, they stay till you're ready for them to leave. You ever have someone come and you dread the day that they leave? Right? You just don't want them to go. When your kids come home, right? Right? Sue says, I'd love to see him come. Mark says, you're leaving when? Okay. Okay. All right. You wish they could stay longer? Right? I have family that I love dearly that I don't see often. Last year we had dinner with one of our family members, one of my cousins at Rebecca's house. I hadn't seen him in 20 years. The type of people that hug you and you don't want to let go. Can you be that way with people? Are you that way with people? Right? I mean, someone said, someone who refreshes your spirit or helps you in some sort of way, or just the idea that Tommy stopped by here a month the day after Bible school and we're tearing stuff down and we don't see him often and you don't want to let go. We're that way with people. We're not that way. We're not that way with Christ. I don't have time to read my Bible. He gave his life for you, and he says, I've written a love letter to you to tell you give you every answer you'll ever need. And we say, I don't have time. I want you to invite him to stay a little longer. Okay? Or, Brother John, you want to start preaching against TV or the internet or whatever our other hobbies are? I got hobbies. I like farming, painting. I like working on stuff. I got hobbies. But there's times that I just want to stay. Okay? And we're in a hurry. 12 o'clock, we get out of church, and 12:01, the parking lot's empty. Not a lot of times. A lot of times we hang around for 20 minutes. But the truth is, a lot of times we're in a hurry. Okay? Why don't you ask me to stay? If our only prayer time is at the dinner table, thank Jesus for this food, if that's our only prayer time, then that's the only relationship we're going to have. And he is our Savior, Redeemer, Creator, all the above. But what if it's an invitation that you just say, stay with me today? I don't know what's going to happen today. Won't you just ask? The end result in John chapter 4, the Samaritan woman, because the Samaritans asked him to stay, verse 40 says, many more believed. A lot more people believe because they asked him to. You really got questions on that? But can you pray all the time? Yeah, you can pray all the time. You can pray. The Bible says pray without ceasing. Spend time with you. Actually, when you say, I want your presence all the time. Whereas I got to concentrate on my driving. I concentrate on my driving. Taylor lets me know. We got these rumble strips over on this side of the highway when I get off too far this way. And people blow the horn at me when I go across the center line, whatever. So you know when you get too close to people. But the truth is, you want to spend time with them. Like the people that you want to hold on to and not let go. Okay? In Acts chapter 4, verse 17, Peter and John were in Jerusalem, this is after the day of Pentecost, and people took knowledge of them that they were ignorant and unlearned men. Let me just read it so I can butcher the verse. Acts chapter 4, if you want to turn there. Acts chapter 4, verse 13, Now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John, this Peter and John are preaching and people getting saved, okay? And the high priests are calling them in. They're ready to crucify them like they did Jesus, right? They hate this idea. So Acts 4:13 says this, but when they saw the boldness of Peter and John and perceived that they were unlearned and ignorant men, they marveled. And they took knowledge of them that they had been with Jesus. Okay? If inviting him to stay is a big part of your life, okay, is a major part of your day, if inviting him to stay, it may not make you smarter. You still may be ignorant and unlearned men, just like the rest of us. Okay? But other people will notice something different about you. And the people who hated Christ and hated Peter and John, who were standing there in front of them, here comes those guys again. But they can't get away from the fact that they were with Christ. There was something different about those guys because they were with Christ. Okay? Any questions on this? Comments? Some people are satisfied with salvation. They don't want anything else. That's all. I got my ticket punched. I'm going to heaven when I die. That's it. Others want something more. Like the little woman said, come see a man who told me all that I ever did. And then there's other people who say, stay with us. and just stay with us. Jason was have what was the definition of fellowship the other guys? A bunch of the preacher gave the definition. A bunch of fellows in the same ship, right? So we had fellowship with the singers, right? And Jason had his I don't know, it's the internet stuff, Facebook, email, whatever it is. He's given the address so that they can keep in contact with these boys that are once. The one that rode with me to pick up kids the other night from Brazil. He's a missionary. He's second generation missionary. We were taking kids home, and the kids were talking stuff we had, but the fellowship part was, I just loved having those kids around. Those young men just loved, I enjoyed the fellowship. Okay, the time's got to go, and they had to be somewhere else Saturday night. Okay, but I just enjoyed the fellowship. So you send them an email, you got a text, or you got a phone number, so you keep in contact with somebody. Why? Because you want that, right? So Tammy read me an obituary the other day about someone that I went to school with, graduated high school with, and she said, "Did you know this person?" I said, "Yeah, I knew this person, but I hadn't had contact with this person since 1980, right?" And I told Tammy, I said, I thought about maybe I'd do the funeral, with the viewing or something like that, just to see if somebody else that I knew from school or whatever was there to talk to somebody. Of course, how many recognize the people we went to school with? No one's going to recognize me. It's 40 years and 50 pounds ago. I haven't changed, okay? But then I was like, I had nothing to do with those people, really. I'm not the same person I was then. I saw them 20 years ago at a reunion or whatever, but not in contact. That's not like I wanted to go contact with some people. The truth is, there are people that you say, I want to keep contact with that person, right? I want to keep in touch with that person. Give me your number. Keep in touch with you, or email me, or whatever. Some worship, as Samaritans did, when Jesus was talking to the woman at the well. Some worship, and they don't know who they're worshiping or why they're worshiping. They just do. But there's others worshiping in spirit and truth. We talked about that last Sunday morning. They look for something different, right? They worship Him in spirit and truth. Some people take a while to see many more saved. I firmly believe that these people were saved. Other people got saved. Believe because the Samaritans said, "Why don't you stay? Why don't you just stay?" He stayed for a couple days. Any questions on that? Anybody want to ask him to stay? Just to stay. You got family members lost. I want to stay. I want to stay until when I leave my prayer closet, that people would take knowledge of them that they've been with Jesus. I want to stay. I want Him to stay. I want that fellowship. You want that fellowship? Thank you, Lord, for loving us. Thank you, truth, you've given us in your word. Help us love the way we ought to. Help us live the way we ought to that represents Christ to the world around us. Thank you for the truth you've given us. We want you in part of it. We don't want to have service without you. We don't have fellowship without you. We want to worship you in the spirit and the truth. We want to find truth and examine it and make it a part of our life. We realize you're our spirit. The Holy Spirit dwells within us with the fellowship, the relationship there. We want you to stay. We want to stay. That you work through us. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen. Thank you for speaking.